to be a lack of interest on the part of Haitian authorities, but also a lack of interest just because what I perceive is that they see it as a minister-led process. Because the Inspector General, part of the police, leads his own vetting process every day. When there are police operations and they found police officers corrupt or involved in criminal activities, they are arrested and detained. But this process is being done in closed doors. Human rights organizations are not too happy about not hearing anything about it. Human rights organizations usually are involved when there is recruitment, because the force is supposed to go up to 14,000 members. So every 6 months, about 500 police or 600 police officers are called into the academy, new officers, and they are trained for 6 months. And when they're called in, the recruitment, the Inspector General works with human rights organizations, asking them whether with these candidates, if they have any proof or elements that state that these people, that these recruits were involved in human rights violation. The cost of the reform plan is $700 million, and it's supposed to cover investments. After 2011, the state will have to take on all the financial responsibility. The main donors are the U.S., and for now, the budget of the police takes 80% of the budget of the Justice Ministry. The main donors are now Canada, the U.S., and the ABC country, as Professor Saiten-Foussas just said, are getting involved in the training activities, will be getting involved in the training activities. Some results are visible. There are more police officers on the street. There are, actually now there are extremely bad events happening in Port-au-Prince. The PNH is quite involved in the streets. There are students opposing and protesting, and the police are involved in the street. But there are less human rights violations. I dare not affirm that right now, because there might be quite a few human rights violations now, but they are much less than what they were before. And the process too of modernizing the police is something that is owned by the institution and the political authorities. It is clear for them that there's a necessity to have civilian control security apparatus functioning in the state. There are problems that might hinder or facilitate the process. And the problem of ownership, does the leadership really owns the reform process? Also the architecture of the security apparatus. There is no public security policy. It hasn't been debated. It is not something that has been established by the Justice Ministry, although it's been talking about establishing adopting security system policies. The police does everything. It's just the police that does jail, that does land and sea borders. So it might not be international NGOs. That is a lot for a very small and weak administration. There is an abundance of projects, but there's a negative side to it, and I need here to qualify abundance, because the international donors promised $324 million in a recent donor conference, but only it fell short of the $900 million that were promised, and also last year it was $4 billion that were promised. So still, it is a lot of projects for a weak Haitian public administration to be able to control. I would like to conclude by saying that there is positive element in the police. I'm showing here different type of police corps. I don't know who these people are, what they are, and I've kept asking. They might be Marine, but these are the CIMO. This is the Brigade d'Intervention. They intervene in riots, but this is not a riot. This is a very peaceful carnaval in Jacmel, actually. It's not a riot. And infrastructure is being rebuilt. Human rights abuse have really come down a lot from the 2004 period. And I was a human rights observer, and it was really bad in 2005, but it really has come down a lot. But there's a need for greater coordination. There's a lot of people wanting to help and being there to collaborate and to cooperate with Haitian, but we don't coordinate each other enough between the Canadians, the Americans, the Brazilians, the Chileans, the French. There's a lot of people all coming, and we all have different plans, and we don't coordinate. And there's it's a bit of the international tendency to want to put your flag on, oh, it's a Canadian project, and so better coordination is really needed. There are numerous players, and we are trying to impose sometimes priorities on the partner, which is the police, and without listening what are the national priorities, and also without listening that there's a big still lack of capacity to actually monitor and follow through. I can give numerous examples, but administratively the police is still very weak. Commissariat, there's a lack of intermediary card to actually manage. In a commissariat, a commissaire manages human resource, material resource, plus operational. And this capacity is very much lacking throughout the country. And still, the main question is what kind of police Haiti needs. And this has yet to be fully debated. Both can Haiti support it's the police that it wants to have, that the international community believes it should have, and also what kind of police is needed in Haiti. So,
thank you so much.